The studio because Solange Mougin joins me here on set to take a spin through this morning's newspapers. Hello, Solange.
Hi, Nadia.
You're going to be starting us off then with what is our top story here at France 24 today, the death of Diego Maradona, and that is something that's making a lot of front pages today, isn't it?
Yeah, it is the top story, I'd say, about around the world. The world is crying. That is how the Argentine paper Clarín pays tribute to the football legend. It goes over Maradona's triumphs on the pitch, but also his final moments before he had a heart attack at the age of 60. The paper mourns, like pretty much all of Argentina, which has decreed 3 days of mourning, as well as a presidential palace wake. Now, Italy, too, is paying tribute to Maradona's time, in part because of Maradona's time in Naples between 1984 and 1991. It made him there not only a superstar, but also an embodiment of the entire sport itself. Football, calcio in Italian, goes to heaven, says La Repubblica. The paper boasts that there is no need to introduce him. It says, for his talent to the world, it would be like explaining who Dante, Einstein, or Jesus Christ is. That's what La Repubblica.
And with that in mind, you know, many papers today are saying Maradona was a sort of god.
Yeah, the French Sports Daily pays tribute in this very way. It says God is dead on its front page. Now, this makes reference to Maradona's status for many as the best player ever, but mostly it refers to his so-called Hand of God goal in 1986, which the Daily Mirror as well pays reference to and pays tribute to on its cover. One of sport's most famous moments, it was basically a hand goal, and it allowed Argentina to win against England in the World Cup. Now, Argentina had just lost the Falkland War, and it was a sort of saving grace revenge that Maradona said himself was divine intervention.
That said, though, many papers pointing out to us today that while he may have been sort of perceived as a heavenly figure, he wasn't without his problems, was he, Maradona?
He wasn't, but Bloomberg notes that despite this, he was indeed the best player ever because, better than, say, Messi or Ronaldo, because he made himself out of nothing. Coming from extreme poverty, his talent, but also, and mostly his era, meant he carried entire teams on his shoulders. Now, for the Swiss paper Le Temps, there's never been a football god like Maradona. The paper explains through his personal life, that his personal life, lived in the spotlight from boyhood, was, as you said, like a telenovela full of self-destructive behavior and personal demons. A larger-than-life persona that Maradona was all too aware of himself, according to Herman. He draws the global star arriving in heaven and saying to God, "Make yourself at home." So a sort of fun, cheeky take there. Now, for the Argentine illustrator Max Aguirre, he has the football star kicking a ball up in heaven and says, Maradona was like all popular gods. They're just as muddy or as complicated as their disciples.
I love that cartoon. That's great, Solange. You're going to move on for us now. Bring us another big story today. This is the release of a British-Australian academic. She'd been held for over 2 years in a jail in Iran.
Yeah, Kylie Moore-Gilbert, as The Guardian tells us, was jailed for over 2 years. The paper says that her release has given hope to others in Iranian jails, such as Nazanin Zaghari Radcliffe. The paper says that Kylie Moore-Gilbert was convicted in a secret trial of espionage, espionage that she's always denied. Now, after her release, she praised the Iranian people, saying she has nothing but affection for them, despite what she called, quote, a long and traumatizing and unjust detention. Now, there have been TV images of the 3 Iranian prisoners arriving at an airport in Iran, but as the Australian notes, the Australian government has not confirmed the swap, perhaps because of the sensitive nature of such exchanges, and perhaps also because 2 of the Iranians were convicted of trying to assassinate Israeli diplomats in Thailand. Now, the Australian government, which played a very vital role in the negotiations, said they were both pleased and relieved over her release.
It's Thanksgiving today in the United States. Solange, very different story for us now. In the United States press, they are talking a lot about the fact that millions of Americans are on the move for the holiday, despite, obviously, the coronavirus.
Yeah, there's much discussion in the American press about the worrisome number of American travelers for this holiday, which sort of rivals Christmas in the U.S. But I thought here that I would focus more on those that heeded officials' warnings and stayed on the couch. USA Today's Cartoonist has a TV presenter interrupting the regularly scheduled chaos to bring an announcement: the importance of giving thanks. Meanwhile, the Cincinnati Enquirer has another fun cartoon of an all-alone grandma eating her mashed potatoes. She's FaceTiming a turkey who says, "I know you wanted me over for Thanksgiving, but I just felt the risk to my personal health was too great." So a reminder there that eating that turkey might be safe for next year.
Yeah, well noted, Solange. Just finally, before we let you go, you found an article maybe of interest to our French-speaking viewers.
Yes, Slate tells us that France has lost its crown in regard to what? French accents. The site says that the French accent has been dethroned as the sexiest accent in the world. But get this, you'll like this, Nadia, the British accent.
Oh, that pleases me greatly. Thank you very much, Solange. I am very flattered, so I'm happy we're leaving the bulletin on that note. Time for a break on Live from Paris. Do stay with us, though. All the headlines just after this. We'll be heading to Dubai on the first day of commercial flights from the UAE to Israel. Thanks for watching.